So how exactly is this going to work?
So this is a fascinating new project that Airbnb is pursuing. They're partnering with this company called Nido, and they're opening these buildings where people live there long term. They have year-long leases. They live there normally, and then they also sublet apartments on a short-term basis to tourists.
So are these buildings owned or part owned by Airbnb?
They're owned by Nido, and they license with Airbnb. So it's a partnership. Airbnb gets a 25% cut of what the residents make when they home share.
So how do people who live in these buildings already feel about this project?
The people I've spoken with are not happy. They're pretty upset. They feel blindsided, like they didn't agree to live in a hotel. Basically, Nido came in and purchased the buildings. It's going to open as many as 14 buildings by the end of next year. So some people seem really upset. I did speak to a few people who are excited about the idea. They think it's kind of cool and new, and maybe they just need to warm up to it.
And it could also mean a new revenue stream for them, right?
Exactly.
They can rent out their apartment now whenever they want?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a legal sublet that they're doing. But I think people feel a little blindsided by the idea that, Nido and Airbnb have come in and that essentially they signed a lease without agreeing to live in a hotel, so to speak. But the company Nido says they're going to work closely with the residents and really help them feel more comfortable with the idea.
Is this legal? Like, are there regulatory issues here? I imagine New York City wouldn't be happy about something.
Right. So as far as we know, they are not setting one up in New York City. They have one now in Kissimmee, Florida, as well as Nashville, Tennessee, where it is legal. It is legal to home share in this area that they're setting up this building.
So what's Airbnb's longer end game here? Are they going to be opening up hotels?
It's really interesting. Airbnb says these are not hotels, that they're encouraging legal home sharing. But we do understand, as we're watching the company really closely, that they're moving in that direction to create more hotel-like listings. Earlier this year, they announced Airbnb Plus, which is a hotel-like listing service that they have. They make sure that you have matching towels and matching sheets, and that there are amenities in the apartment that you're renting, like a working hairdryer and an iron. So they're trying to standardize their listings more and appeal to people who want that higher level of service and just that standardization to feel like they're getting something that's a little more consistent, like a hotel.
Could this go international where there might be fewer regulatory issues?
It certainly could. I mean, as far as we know, that there are plans to open up as many as 14 in the U.S. I think that's where they're focused. They're clearly going to areas where there's a high tourist turnover. Nashville is a hot town right now. They're right in this neighborhood that's really popular for music lovers. As far as we know, they're going to open as many as 6 in Florida. So a lot of movement there.
And given the margins, I mean, this particular structure has better margins than your typical Airbnb, right? So how does this fit into IPO plans in 2019, 2020, or beyond?
Well, I think this is really a case of Airbnb trying to diversify what it has to offer. They've come under a lot of regulatory pressure, so I think the sentiment internally there is we need to have other products, things where we can make money where there aren't regulatory hurdles. This is legal home sharing. Recently, they opened up experiences, which is you can take a kayaking lesson or a cooking class. That's another revenue source for them. So I think as they're heading into IPO, they're really thinking about other ways that they can become, a productive, diversified company.